Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. And we really appreciate all support from the community, from the Europe, which you show to us and which you give to us. And for today, I will share some of our experience and insight how we survive during this last 8 months. A few words about me. My name is Kyrylo Honcharuk. I have 20 years experience in IT and cybersecurity with 15 years in the managerial experience. And from the beginning of war, I'm actively volunteering with Diabetic Federation, and I'm overseeing a digital transformation in diabetes care in Ukraine. So this is our office, how it's our headquarters, how it looks like 8 months ago before the invasion started. And our company, Ukrtelecom, is the biggest fixed provider in Ukraine, and our aim to bridge the country's digital divide to make Ukraine one of the world's leader in digital democracy. So we provide broadband services around all the country in more than 2,000 cities in our countries. And this is how our office looks 4 weeks ago. So how we work today in such situation when Kiev attacked from the Russian side, and we are continuously delivering our services, and we are happy to say that we continuously providing our services in more than 87% of territory covered by our network for today. Our field forces provided in the different condition, but we still working to reestablish connection for the last 8 months for more than 1 million people in more than 1,000 households in our country. And for sure, for the last 8 months shows us that the access to information become a basement of human needs pyramid, and our company and our social value and social responsibility to provide access to information for all our Ukrainian citizens around the country, especially in temporary occupied territory, because the access to internet or to the data can be only one source for the information for them. Especially when for now they are spending the time without electricity, heating, and they need to know how to world react on this situation, how to provide support for them. And for now, it's become more valuable because they need to know about alarms which they are received through the internet and through the devices. From the very beginning of active phase of Russia invasion and the February, we faced more than 10 attacks per week. But I will talk about 2 specific attacks today, which we faced through our last 8 months. The first of them was on March 28. As a lot of people know who celebrate their birthday in March, that from the COVID, the worst birthday party was in the lockdown. For me, as I have a birthday on March 28, the worst party was this March, and I hope it's the last one which will be on the such situation. So on March 28, hackers attack Ukrtelecom's infrastructure. They use some compromised accounts of our internal users on temporary occupied territories. As we know, they have a physical access to these people, and they try to mimicry to our day-to-day activity and to mimicry to go as our standard or normal users to discover our infrastructure, our landscape, and to understand how to make a biggest effect on our infrastructure. And in the end of the day, they use a zero-day vulnerability to compromise part of our infrastructure. As internet traffic monitoring companies realized, traffic on our network was shrinked or dropped more than 80% for the 15 hours in a row. It was hard, my decision, but when we realized that the part of our infrastructure compromised, we are decide to cut services for our B2B and B2C customers to be sure that services for special customers like Ukrainian army, government forces, and so on, they are provided continuously, uninterruptible, and not affected by this attack. The other one attack was more or less in the middle of the May, when we faced a distributed denied of service attack, which was more than 36 hours in a row, and all our emergency response team was in a charge and fighting for the 36 hours to be sure that our infrastructure okay and not affected. And on that time we was successful with it, as in other attacks, because only one attack which we faced for this 8 months lead to the service interruption or service reduction of service level. And for sure, next normal show us that a real and physical dimension and the cyber dimension are overlapped in our life, and they are overlapped more and more, and they have affected each other. And this war and this situation, this fight, show us that they have effect more and more on our life. And if before war we have as the most part of telcos 2 data centers which have an active or active passive reservation before them, from the very beginning of war, we understand that it's not enough to be sustainable, to provide continuously our service for our customers, and we start to implement an third instance or third data center, and we start actively use cloud services in Europe to reserve or to move our part of our services there. Before while we have some regulation which are not allow us to use actively cloud services for our BSS and OSS services, but from the beginning of war this regulation changed and allow us to use actively cloud services as one of active data center or active instance. And furthermore, we are increased more than 4 times our interconnect with European operators, because from the during the active phase of war, we understand that sometimes happens situation when more than 60 or 70% of our interconnect was destroyed by physical attacks. So we increase more than 4 times our capacity in the interconnects to be sure that services for our customers provide continuously. And last few years, supply chain attack is most popular on the world, and for now it's expand not on the cyber field but on physical. For the last month and a half, when Russia start actively attacked in a critical infrastructure, Ukraine critical infrastructure in the energy sector, and it hit it more than 30% for now, as the official said. We faced a lot of problem with the supply of electricity, And it's lead not only on the problems that we use like in a diesel or so something like this to support our infrastructure, to cover or to find the alternative energy supplement, but as we all do through our normal operation, because every time you have some disaster or emergency in one side, you need to use a diesel or whatever. But for now, it's become the other problem. It leads us with a problem with the people, because to maintain in one times 10, 50, 15, 20, 30 sites in one time, when, for example, in some regions in Ukraine, for now, more than 10 hours each day, they don't have an electricity supply. You need to have a huge team to maintain these assets and to be sure that they work properly every day. And not the problem to delivery gas there, but the problem is but the main asset become your team, and how this team are scalable to respond all this situation. And for sure, we are not only have problem with the physical supply chain, but as we, as a part of value creation chain for our customers, we and telcos are attacked a lot to disrupt a value creation chain for our customers. As I said, for B2C, it's access to information, and for now, it's life critical to have information about air attacks, because through the different application which they have. For B2B, for sure, data connectivity is a huge part of value creation in all businesses. And for B2G on the battlefield, for the special forces, they have an huge dependency on how quickly they get the data and deliver it to the edge, to the frontiers, and how they deal with it. And Ukraine is a little bit special in this point. We have more than 6,000 ISPs in Ukraine, and they all reliable on the network of the big telecom operators. So we should to provide uninterruptedly broadband services for them, because they need to deliver it last mile to their customers. Our reaction to the attack and response, as I said, it was hard decision. We are really sorry about it, but we decided to cut services for our B2C and B2B customers to be sure that the special customers are safe. Cooperation with the Western partner, that's I said, is the key in sharp and quick response on the attack, because when you have such massive attacks, you need to analyze and understand a lot of different signals, events, and etc. on your network, and help from the big vendors and partners, from the emergency response teams, and close cooperation with them, and as well as the cooperation with our government special forces to react and to respond on this situation. And for sure, communication with special subscribers and stakeholders, it's a key to make they aware of what is going on and how you react on this situation. And the last but not least, it's a sharp response on the Security Operations Center. We realized in 15 minutes that some part of our infrastructure was attacked, and we start our emergency response procedures, our emergency response, to be sure that everything's okay. So my insight and tips how to protect the infrastructure, I would love to focus on the 4 pillars. The first one is invest in information security upfront, because when you have a disaster or emergency, or you are in the middle of attack, you can bring on the table all money you have, but they won't create a value. And to be prepared and ready, you need to do it upfront. You need to do it before. And we all of us face a situation when we come to the CFO and he says it's all last 5 years we don't do this, and everything was okay, so why we need to do it now? We can do it in 2 years ahead. The tip here is information security. You should be prepared. All tools should be worked, and all procedures should be tested before you face it an emergency. Keep up with security vendors update. As in our case, the attackers tried to use a vulnerability which they successfully used a few months before on the other European operators, but we was up to date with vendor, and we realized that someone tries to use this vulnerability and start to respond on it. So in the end of the day, they use a 0 day, but for now, but we was on the middle of our response in this. And the biggest vulnerability in your infrastructure is your internal users. So you need to continuously increase the awareness, their responsibility about cybersecurity hygiene, about cybersecurity in general, and they should be prepared to some attacks in any moment. And last but not least, as Annie said, you talk a lot about implementing machine learning and AI-based tools. They help a lot you to realize unusual suspicious network activity, and which are more valuable, they help you to realize suspicious activity from your customers when they change their day-to-day habits, and you need to realize it's in the real time. Regulation, as I said, for us, it plays a crucial role in cloud adoption, because before war, we don't have ability to use this due to regulators. For now, we can, and I'm sure that each industry should have an let's say golden standard to have how to be prepared in the information security field. And because to be sustainable and to respond on the such incidents, all industries should be on a more or less same level. Because when you have one big operator which facing a huge attack, which lead to the disruption of its services, the other operator will face a huge problem with capacity, because in one time they have increased traffic or subscribers or whatever. So to be resilient, all in industry should be more or less on the same level. And as I said, that zero trust is a crucial element of company cybersecurity system, because for now, due to the COVID, people are work in any place, in any devices, but for now they can be compromised in any moment, anywhere. So only way to survive on this environment is to build a zero trust infrastructure or approach in your network and your infrastructure. Maybe the last 2 points, it's a monitoring client's activity. We make an exercise more or less a year ago when we make a penetration test for our B2C customers in one network segment, and we realized that no one of them care about change default password on their devices, update IoT on their home network, and hackers will use them to attack your infrastructure from your frontiers. So you need to understand what is the activity normal for your customers, and if they are compromised, react and help react them. And sure, be ready for tough decision, because in some point of emergency response, you should make such decision to help, like in a surgery, to help survive all your network, but to cut some of them. Thank you. I will be happy to answer your question now, or you can connect me through the LinkedIn.
Hello. So we do have a question for you. Interesting as always. So Antoine says, how do you monitor suspicious activities and anomalies on the network? I would imagine that could be a very long answer.
I'm not sure that I can share all insights about it now, but we have a different level of monitoring from the network activity, from the host to host activity, which are regular, normal, which are not normal, which are enormous, with activity, network activity with our customers, with our B2C, B2B customers, what they are doing, what is the normal activity for them, and so on. So it can be done on a different way, from the DNS query to the package inspection and so on. So, but in the end of the day, you need to collect as more sources as you can and aggregate them on the CM or other tool which you use to understand what is changing on your network and why it's changing.
So I guess it's amassing huge data sets to kind of establish what normal traffic looks like. And I guess you need immense amounts of data to figure that out. And I also imagine that evolves.
Yes, but not only traffic, but traffic on the different dimension, on different level of the model, like an application, like an source, like an IP level, and so on. So you should to understand it not only on the traffic on IP level, but on the application level too.
Okay, so it's a really multi-layered approach. Now, I was talking very recently to a very large company that includes security in its offers, and he was talking about the ransomware attacks of a few years ago, like WannaCry and stuff. And he said that when they went in to help big companies who've been affected, he was kind of amazed to find out that none of them had ever practiced such a scenario. And he said in peace times, the army practices war games and does exercises all the time. You don't wait for trouble to start before getting ready. And I thought of you, and I don't know. He just says he finds it astonishing, this lack of preparedness. Obviously, you had an excellent reason to be prepared, and wasted no time in putting provisions in place. Can I just go back as well and ask you a little bit, Kyrylo, about talking about keeping up with security vendors' updates? And I'm just wondering, are you ever a bit scared about any of your suppliers and how good they are? And I mean, often problems arise during updates.
Yes, but it's like always two sides of a medal. Usually enterprise, or as we live, let's say 3-5 years ago, they have a long period or long cycle for updates, half a year, sometimes more, because you test it on the different environment and so on. For now, especially with security updates, you should be as quick as you can, because vulnerabilities, as far as they discover it, they will be used in next few days, and you should to be really quick with it. For sure, sometimes security updates lead to the problem on the network, on your customers, and affect your services. So you should to change procedures for test and for the response, and how do you respond on this, let's say, not good situation, which can be with updates, and how you do it. You can use it in a different way, like in a different scenario for reservation or whatever, but you need to change your update procedures, especially for security patches, and you should be very, very quick on it.
Okay, and also I'd imagine that as time goes on, AI, and in particular right now, machine learning, are playing an ever bigger part in security, from detecting anomalies to maybe shutting down suspect segments of the network and so on. And I'm just wondering if you've got any thoughts about how that's evolving, and where you think the next big steps, or what you think the next big steps will be.
Yeah, I'm sure that artificial intelligence and machine learning will play the huge role on the cybersecurity system on each company, and not only on monitoring traffic, but on response. And as you correctly mentioned, that you need to provide automatically tools to respond on the suspicious activity, and you need to provide and understand how the, let's say, artificial intelligence security operations center will respond on this activity. But for sure, you need to control it, and you need to add some control point with human interaction or human interface, which will control and manage it in the real time, or closely to real time.
Okay, and do you do the AI development yourself, or is it part of the products you buy, or is it both?
For now, we more rely on products which we buy than internal, but we use some internal development to change or to increase efficiency of vendors' tools. But the most part, it's part of products.
Okay, and you talked about the absolutely critical importance of teams. So you're in a very extreme situation right now, and are you managing to expand and develop your team skills at the same time as keeping the whole show running? I mean, that's an immense demand on you.
Yes, and it's a huge problem. The team and the lack of resources was a huge problem before the war, and now it's increasing each day. And yeah, we're fighting with our company on this situation, and try to deal it. But it's should to mention that the social value which our company creates to people help us to deal with it, and a lot of people now want to play their role on the such social responsibility, on the such social value which we create for our customers. So from one way it's help us, from other way, as the market is face it huge demand, it's for sure it's harder to find any talent.
Kyrylo, as always, it's been a great pleasure having you here. We wish you, from the bottom of our hearts, all the luck in the world, although let's not underestimate your level of skill and determination in making that luck.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to having me there. Thank you.
Thank you.